special teacher feature is for Mr. John Soos. He is currently a social studies teacher at Sudbrook Magnet for the grade 7. He was born in Baltimore and raised in Arbutus. He graduated from Lansdowne Senior High School in 1982. He attended both UMBC and Towson University, where he earned his teacher certification. He is currently enrolled in UMBC for a master's in history. His hobbies include reading, which is mostly nonfiction, travel when he can afford it, and playing trivia competitions with his trivia team, the Assorted Nuts. He enjoys the company of his 2 Jack Russell Terriers, Kizzy and Rippy. He first became a teacher in 1990 after working in the private sector for such corporations as Legg Mason. We are so happy that John is a part of the Sudbrook Magnet faculty, and let's learn a little bit more about him. What is your favorite book, Mr. Soos?
That's a tough question. I don't know if I have a favorite book. I usually read nonfiction more than fiction. I don't know. Among fiction books, I thought Watership Down was an excellent book. I like Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, which I thought was a very good book. George Orwell's 1984 was a very dark book, but it was good. Things like that. I read a book in the late 80s called Cultural Literacy by E.D. Hirsch, and at the same time I was unhappy with the work I was doing, and they kind of meshed together. I thought this book made a really good point that unless you had knowledge about things, you couldn't be considered intelligent or educated. Not necessarily that you had to know all kinds of facts to be smart. There's more to intelligence than that. But I thought he made a good point. You can't speak intelligently about anything unless you know things and you know what you're talking about and you can refer to things. And I thought that had a really big impact on me, and it kind of led me down the path of becoming an educator.
And what is your favorite time of the year?
Springtime. It's not too hot yet, like in the summer, and it's only problem with that is that lately in the last few years the pollen hasn't been bothering me, but I just like the weather. I like how it looks. It's really nice. The sun is out longer. That's my favorite time of the year, spring.
Mine too. What is your favorite lesson that you teach in class?
Oh boy. Gosh. When I taught American history, I liked the lessons on the Lincoln assassination because it's just fascinating by itself. Anything more modern, more 20th century type of history are my favorite lessons. Anything that's closer to our time.
And who is your favorite person? It doesn't have to be a historical figure. It could be an athlete, musician, artist, scientist.
Let's see. Musicians, I'm a big Beatles fan. Paul McCartney and John Lennon fan. And history, gosh, I really don't know. I can't say that. I mean, Lincoln is very interesting character. And I think Obama's fascinating too.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right. And our next question was, what music do you love? And you just answered the Beatles. Anyone else you would like to name?
I like classical music too. Anyone else? Beatles. Besides Beatles, rock music. Like the Beatles. There's a Canadian band named Rush. I really liked a lot when I played in a band. We used to play a lot of their stuff. Bands like Boston, the Eagles, groups like that.
And
70s and 80s.
You played in a band. What instrument did you play?
Bass guitar.
Okay. Very cool. What is your favorite expression?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I have one. Goofballs and tootie heads is what I call some of my GT students. I don't know. My favorite expression, I don't know. I don't have one.
At least you came up with something. Most people can't think of anything. Who or what inspired you to become an educator?
It was in the late 80s, and I recall I wasn't happy with what I was doing in the work world, and someone at one of my jobs says, "Why don't you be a teacher? You know a lot about history," and that was what your degree was in. And I thought, I kind of thought, I don't think people know their history very well, and I thought it was as they say, a noble occupation, a noble cause, and I thought I might be pretty good at this. I like kids, even though I call them goofballs and tootie heads sometimes. And I think that one particular teacher got my interest piqued in it, and so I looked into it and I went from there.
What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Philanthropy, if I had the money. I like, good causes and organizing for those good causes, raising money for that. Although I never have done that. I would like to get into that if I could.